Good day, viewers, and welcome to another OnsideSA soccer show. The club scene is finally finished, so on to the Euros it is. We'll be going through the first round games, the group, qualifying betting, and we've got one or two, hopefully, good tips waiting for you. So joining me from our UK studio in Fulham is Steve Ibrahim. Steve, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning, Bud.
Yeah, how's the weather going in the UK?
Yeah, glorious. We've got a mini heat wave in the next few days.
All right. Well, let's hope things are nice and hot. We can give our viewers plenty of hot tips. Steve, we'll kick off into the first round, which starts in Rome on Friday with the host team, Italy, playing Turkey. The Italians too good?
I think they will. They're on a bit of a run at the moment. They're often tournament dark horses. I thought this was going to be, I think it will be close. Turkey, can surprise teams, but I think in Rome, I think the Italians will be too good. I don't think there'll be much in it, but I think they will. They've won something like 7 or 8 in a row now, so I think there'll be good things for that one. Yeah,
there should be. And I was impressed with Turkey. I watched them beat the Netherlands, and I also saw them outclass Norway. I'm just a bit worried. They've only got Yilmaz up front. He's 35, had a great season at Lille, and without Cenk Tosun up front with them as the spare number 9. I don't know how far Turkey will go, but I agree. I think it'll be a tight game with the Italians winning. Now on to Saturday, where we've got Gareth Bale's Wales against a Switzerland team that don't know how to get beat. A draw, a big player, Steve?
Yeah, I think it is, although I think Wales, this is a crucial game for them. It's a tough group, and I think they're going to target this as something that they might try and get something out of. So I just think there could be a little bit of a surprise here. I think that this is Gareth Bale's last tournament, really. In all respect, I think they'll want to go out fighting. So I fancy there could be a slight upset. And, I might plump for Wales by a goal.
Okay, I just think the draw's got it written all over it. Switzerland with Garka and his mate in the middle of the park, they don't go too far. But when Shaqiri's your main striker, or your main creative striker, I think Wales have got nothing to fear. For me, I fancy the draw. Now, Denmark are a few people's outsiders to have a good run in this competition. Will they be too good for Finland?
I think they will be. They've warmed up quite nicely, Denmark. They've got players that we're familiar with, that we know. Finland have done well to qualify. They don't qualify for many tournaments. But I think Denmark will be too strong.
Okay. The other two sides in the group are Russia against Belgium. Now, this game is being played in Moscow, so great hometown advantage for the Russians. Any chance of an upset?
I'd be surprised if there was. Obviously, I think it's be key if De Bruyne is playing or not playing. We're not sure that he is first game. Look, they've got a squad packed full of players that we're very familiar with, the majority of whom have played at some point in the Premier League. I think if Russia were to hold them, that would be a good result for them.
Yeah, I backed Russia last Saturday. They won 1-0. They got a dodgy penalty late on. Not impressed. Where Belgium beat Croatia, I was not in love with Belgium, but they look like they're up for this tournament. Having finished third in the last World Cup, I think they've got a great chance of winning. Yeah, I think 6-10. I think a bit of a good thing. Even
the up front and the midfield that we know about. I think that. I think if they start off with a win there, I think that will set them up for the rest of the group.
All right, Steve. On to Sunday, the big game. England hosting Croatia. 7-10 England. Has it got your money?
Yeah, I think this is a big game for England. They don't want to slip up in game one. England win this and they should win the group. So what has worried me is Southgate's selections. Playing all the squad players and not playing his best 11 together when other countries have done that. Yeah. So let's hope that those players who, like the Fodens and Mounts, who haven't played for England now for a little while, can slip in seamlessly. And if they do, then England should be too good. But again, I think it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I've been really disappointed in Croatia. A lot of good quality midfield players, but the biggest weakness to me is the goalkeeper. He plays for Dynamo Zagreb, and just having watched him, I think that's the weakness in their team. The two centre-halves, Vida, he's over 30, and I think Lovren's going to be the other centre-half. So good players going forward, but defensively, I just worry about England, Steve. The goalkeeper, I've never been in love with Pickford. Who's going to play centre-half next to Stones? Will it be Ben White or Tyrone Mings? And that's my worry for England. They could get exposed there. But
I have a feeling it'll probably be Tyrone Mings, but he's got, we've seen in the 2 friendlies he's got a mistake in him.
Yeah.
So somebody needs to step up, and for big game to throw Ben White in straight away. He's only played sort of like one and a bit games for England, so I think that's a tough decision, and we don't know yet what's going to happen with Harry Maguire going forward. In the past we've had some strong centre halves, but the fact we're having to pick players who've only played 1 or 2 games is a bit of a worry. Yeah,
I think it'll be a tighter game. I think both teams will score. I'm hoping, obviously, like you, England will get off to a good start. Now, Austria, I watched them the other day, and I didn't realise that Marko Arnautovic was injured when they played England. He came on the last 20 minutes. They drew with Slovakia 1-1, but they should have won. Will they be too good for North Macedonia?
Yeah, I think so. I thought that in the second half, particularly in the last half hour against England, I thought they did okay.
Yeah.
And as you say, if Arnautovic is fit, and we know he can be a dangerous striker, I think they'll be too strong. Slovakia build their team around sort of 1 or 2 players, and I think that Austria have probably got enough to win that.
Yeah, the only thing is North Macedonia, they beat the Germans 2-1 in the last World Cup qualifier in Germany, so there won't be any pushovers.
No, but I see them as the whipping boys of the group. I think that they've done very well to qualify, but I think the experience would be good for them. But I can't see them picking up a point.
Yeah, the team I think has got the best draw in the Euros are the Netherlands, playing a Ukrainian team who I think they won 4 or 5-0 in midweek. You think the Dutchmen will get off to a good start?
I think they will. They've not been overly impressive in their friendlies. But they've got the players that can do it, and as you say, they're they're not in the strongest group, so I think they've got themselves a very good chance. And if they win that game, then I think that they're set up to win the group. So I think the Netherlands should just do enough.
Yeah, I agree. I just worry about their goalkeeper. It's Stekelenburg or Tim Krul from Norwich. That's my only concern. Likewise, a centre half. If Van Dijk had been there, I think there'd be major contenders. But without him, just don't see De Ligt and Danny Blind holding the top teams, but they should be too good for
I don't see them sort of progressing too far in the tournament, but they should certainly get through their group.
Yeah. Steve, on to Monday, the 2 other teams in England's group, Scotland, the Czech Republic. Obviously, they both need the 3 points to have any chance of qualifying. How do you see it going?
I think, well, again, Scotland will have home advantage. The Czechs have got some good players that we see in the Premier League, but I think there's a bit of momentum with Scotland, and I think this is a game that they're going to target, because if they can win this one, I think that they'll fancy their chances then of going through. So I wouldn't be at all surprised. They'll throw everything at them. There'll be a lot of passion, and I think Scotland could just edge it.
Yeah, let's hope so. I think both teams to scores a certainty there. I saw 12-10, so that's already had my money. But both teams need to get the result here, otherwise they're in trouble. On to our third page, we've got Poland, who are disappointing the other night. I watched them. They played Iceland. Their defence was woeful. You see them getting off to a winning start against Slovakia, though?
Yeah, I think so. I think they could do. I think they're not. I think it's one of these sort of games, but I think they should just edge it.
Yeah, one of the tight game for me. While I do think Poland, you may chance them in your exotics. I just think the draw's a big player in this game. They both haven't really been in the best of form. And these groups, they don't want to get off to a losing start, so draw's a player there. Now,
the other thing, I watched quite a bit of the Iceland game. In fact, the last half an hour, I thought Poland played very well. They sort of stepped up a gear, and actually sort of Iceland were hanging on a bit. So I sort of fancy, I think if there was to be a winner, I fancy Poland might just edge it.
Yeah, of the 2 teams, I definitely agree with you. Now, one team that seems to have picked up a few COVID problems is Spain. But 4-10 to beat the Swedes, is that a good price, Steve?
Yeah, I think they'll still be too strong. They've been relatively impressive in their friendlies to date, and I think that they've got players. They've got there's 1 or 2 sort of more experienced players not in the squad, and I think it's time for some of their younger players to step up. So I think they will do. Sweden are always a sort of difficult team, but they haven't really set the world alight recently, so I fancy Spain, but I think it'll be close. Yeah,
the game's in Seville, so home ground advantage should definitely suit the Spanish.
Yeah.
Now on to Group F, which I think will be the key to the competition. The first game is in Budapest, which is in Hungary. Hungary hosting the Portuguese. Big game for Portugal.
Yeah, I watched them last night, and they cruised to a win against Israel in a friendly. I think Portugal should be too strong. Again, packed with players that we're familiar with. Quite a few play or have played in the Premier League. I think I feel sorry for Hungary, but they found themselves in this real group of death. And I think Hungary would do well to get anything, but I fancy Portugal to win that.
Yeah, and the big game of the first round is undoubtedly Germany hosting France. The World Cup champions for you here, Steve?
Yeah, but I think it'll be close. I mean, Germany, have wobbled of late, but they were scoring for fun the other day against Latvia. France looked very comfortable. I watched them the other nights, and it could have had any number of goals. And they sort of obviously they got a little bit of a worry injury scare about Benzema, but when they can bring on. And took Griezmann off, but they could, got
Ben Yedder as well.
Giroud, they've got quality all over the pitch, and I think again, neither team will want to lose that, obviously, but I think if Germany got a point, I think they'd be probably quite pleased with that.
Yeah, I just didn't like what I saw playing 3-5-2, playing Kimmich wide on the right, playing three centre halves, and Hummels is your sweeper, and Thomas Muller centre forward. To me that's a warning sign, in my opinion, of the Germans. But Goretzka will obviously come back, next week once he's fit. So that may change the team. But
and they play Gnabry up front as well.
Yeah, I think that's the key. How do they sort it out? They've still got Nauer in goals, who's a major positive. But I don't like what I see, especially early on. But it is a long competition, and it's very difficult to underestimate the Germans. The four teams that finish third can go through. In that group of death, you probably expect all the three big teams to go through, unless one of them sort of fails. But so Germany could lose that, but still beat Hungary and probably end up coming through as one of the lucky losers in the group, as it were. Yeah, I think that's going to be the key for all three teams. You've got to beat Hungary. That's why the Portugal game is crucial for them. The Hungarians will be fired up, especially at home.
Well, I remember in the World Cup before they actually fought out a great 3-3 draw.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I think Portugal scored late. Ronaldo scored the header. Well, that'll be a good game. I think the first round, Steve, there'll be some crackers. Well, let's hope there are. Just hope we don't get any of these bore games. Steve, you're going to go through the group betting, so I need your advice. Group A's got Italy, Turkey, Switzerland and Wales. 5-10 Italy. Do you think they're good things?
Yeah, I would think so. I think that they'll be too strong. I don't think they're going to concede many goals at all in those games. So I think Italy should be group winners.
Okay, as far as qualifying goes, because I know several people like to take multiples of teams going through, who would you prefer, Turkey or Switzerland?
As you say, Switzerland don't like to get beat, but Turkey are, they can surprise you, and they're very passionate, and I think that, that's going to be a crucial game. I fancy Turkey to go through out of those two.
Yeah, I just don't see, I think there could be a few draws, especially early on with Wales, and it could come down to the last game, but I agree. I think Turkey will finish second at 5-10 to qualify. I think if you get 3 points, you'll have a great chance. Sure. 4 is automatic, but as I say, to qualify, I'd be taking the 5-10 Turkey. On to Group B, where I'm just waiting for the slide to come up here. Yeah, we've made a mistake. It's 72-100 Belgium to win the group.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely take 72-10.
Yeah, so would I. Unfortunately, load shedding, we couldn't correct it in time. Denmark have shortened 27-10. I can't believe Russia are 4-1 and Finland 16-1. Belgium, Steve, surely they should be too good.
I would think so. I would expect Belgium to. I mean, they did play well and beat Denmark comfortably when they played them in the Nations League. Yeah. I think Belgium 1 and Denmark 2 for me.
Okay, and could you see Russia beating Finland to get through?
I think so. Again, whether it will be enough to get through, it depends how they do in the other games.
Yeah.
So, you think that a team that wins one game but loses 2 might just be enough. So I think that will be a game that if Russia starts off slowly against Belgium, they'll need to target that Finland game.
Yeah, okay. On to Group C, where we've got the unpredictable Netherlands. They 4-10, which won't be for me. 9-2 the Ukraine. 11-2 Austria, which I thought was a big price. And 20-1 North Macedonia. How do you see that group going?
Yeah, I fancy all 3 of them to beat North Macedonia.
Okay.
And Netherlands to probably to pip the group.
Okay, I just thought, looking for value in the to qualify market. I saw 4-10 Austria. I like that. I may put that in some of my multiples, but I don't really think it's the greatest of prices. But it should be the Netherlands to lose, but you just never know with the Dutch. Yeah? Anyway, on to Group D, where we've got England at 4-10, 3-1 Croatia, 12-1 the Czech Republic, and 16-1 Scotland. 4-10 England, not a bit short, Steve?
Probably, but I think with home advantage, they've got a fancy. You can see England sort of slipping up in one of the games, maybe being held, but I think that they should still be too strong and should win that group. Croatia probably second, and then I think there's all to play for. But the worry is for Czechoslovakia or the Czechs or Scotland is that if they draw with each other but lose the other games, neither will go through. So I think there needs to be a winner, and I just fancy Scotland could edge that game against the Czechs. So I think they could be one of the lucky losers.
Yeah, I think 12-10 Scotland is good value to qualify. On to Group E, where we've got Spain at 1-3, the Poland at 11-2, Sweden 6-1, and Slovakia 14-1. It should be Spain's to lose, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I would think so. I'd expect them to go through. I think that Poland certainly, and then it's going to be to see whether Sweden do enough to get through as one of the 4 lucky losers. I think Slovakia will finish rock bottom. Yeah,
that's, I think, 4-10. Of the two, who do you prefer, Poland or Sweden?
I think Poland, but I think that's going to be... I just think that they've got a little bit more about them when they attack, but defensively, they're a bit suspect. But but the Swedes historically have made themselves difficult to beat, but they don't score many goals.
Yeah, I think that obviously the trick team is Slovakia. They don't get beat too often. That's the only worry. So be some tight games, but it should be Spain. They play all 3 games in Seville. So I've gone for Spain to win the group in one of my multiples. And last but not least, Steve, it's a group of death, as everybody seems to call it. Germany 12-10, France 13-10, Portugal 7-2, and Hungary at 40-1. Who do you fancy?
Well, Hungary, if Hungary got anything at all in any of the games, they do well. I fancy France to go through as winners. You can pay, I fancy Portugal second and Germany third, but I think Germany will do enough by beating Hungary to just scrape through. Yeah. But they're a tournament team, and you can't write anybody off. But France and Portugal have looked very comfortable so far, from what I've seen.
Yeah, totally agree. Steve, we now go into the exotic type bets I love doing. The top goal scorer, we've got Harry Kane 6-1, Lukaku 7-1, Kylian Mbappe 8-1, Ronaldo 9-1, 16-1 Karim Benzema and Memphis Depay, Ciro Immobile 20-1, and Robert Lewandowski 20-1. Who's your fancy top goal scorer?
It's going to be a tricky one because you've got a team like France. They'll share the goals around.
Yeah.
Sort of Griezmann will score, Mbappe will score, Benzema would if he's fit. I don't think England will score enough goals. He'd love them to, but I don't think they will. I'm going to go for Mbappe.
Okay, fancy him. Looked really sharp the other night, didn't he? Even though he was going through the motions. Yeah, I must say, I think I like what I've seen from Belgium. Lukaku now takes the penalties, which I think will help. I've already taken the 7-1 Romelu Lukaku, and I think Belgium will be close. So I'm chancing Romelu Lukaku. Sure. Our next market that we introduce is the highest scoring team. We've got Spain at 5-1, England at 5-1, Belgium at 11-2, the Netherlands at 6-1, France at 6-1, Italy at 7-1, the Germans at 8-1, and Portugal at 14-1. Who do you fancy there?
Yeah, I don't fancy England though. I don't think we'll score enough goals. I think we'll go in the deep in the tournament hopefully, but not with many goals. For me, it's between France and Spain. But I think France might just edge that because I think they'll go further in the tournament. Yeah. So I might just go for France. Yeah,
I have to agree. As much as I fancy Romelu Lukaku to get all the goals for Belgium, I fancy France to go the whole way. So I have to side with you. 6-1 of France, I think, is a fair bet. Now, the one I looked at it, and it's got me, I don't know which way to look at it. It's the lowest scoring team. Now, the Hungarians are obviously favourites at 5-1 because they play France, Germany and Portugal. North Macedonia are 11-2. Finland are 7-1. Slovakia are 9-1. Scotland 10-1, Wales 12-1, the Czech Republic 14-1, and the Swedes are 20-1. Are you fancy Hungary?
Well, it's going to be sort of, to me, either Hungary or North Macedonia.
Yeah.
They've got a tough game. Well, Hungary have obviously got a hugely tough game. And I think, even though they've scored goals in other games, I think they're going to find it very hard. North Macedonia, we're not quite sure what we're going to get. Their group is not as tough, but I think they'll find it hard to score. I'm going to go for Hungary. I just think they're up against such quality opposition that I think they're going to find it hard to score in those games.
Yeah, I agree. Even though they've got 2 games at home, I just think, especially with the Portuguese first game, they'll give nothing away. Their second game, I think it's France, and then the Germans. I totally agree with you, Steve. 5-1 looks a great price. The lurker, I thought, was Slovakia, because they've got better defensive players and attackers. So if I was going to have a saver, it would be on Slovakia. But
Finland as well. I mean, they don't score many goals. I think, again, it's a bit of an unknown quantity in the tournament. So.
Yeah, Timo Pukki up front, he normally scores 1 or 2. I think you've got to try and, if you concede 1, you've got a chance. If you score 1, you've got half a chance. Concede 1, you've got to squeak. But I don't know if Hungary are going to score. So that's what I'm siding with, Hungary at 5-1. Now, last but not least, we have outright market, Steve. I'm going to read through it. France is 9-2, England 5-1, Belgium 6-1, the Germans are 15-2, 8-1 Italy, Spain, 9-1 Portugal, and 14-1 the Netherlands. Who you on?
I think I'm going to be on France. I just think that they've just got so much quality. I think it's going to be. I wouldn't say it's theirs to lose. I think that the odds are. They don't always get it wrong, do they? So I fancy France.
Yeah. I always look at it when discussing the competition with people, who has got the least amount of weaknesses. Now, the only weakness I can see in this team is the goalkeeper. I know a lot of Tottenham boys will be on my back, but I'm sure Paul will agree with me. He doesn't really like Lloris. When I start going through them with England, I don't like the goalkeeper, the 2 centre halves. Belgium, my only problem with Belgium, they're going to play 3 at the back, and if they've got Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Vermaelen, I think Boyata. But they do have Courtois, who in my opinion is the best goalkeeper in the competition. That's why I make them second best.
There's no pace there. They can get unstuck. They're all good, solid centre halves. We know them well. But there isn't that much pace amongst them, is there?
No. So that's the only thing. That's what put me off. Belgium. But I think if you have a look at, they've got Lukaku up front. So you've got Lukaku, you've got De Bruyne, you've got Courtois at the back. They've got 3 outstanding players in key positions. That's why I made them second best to the French. Italy 8-1. You just worry about them up front.
Again, dark horses. That never get fancied in the tournaments, and look at how many they've won over the years.
Yeah.
So you can't write them off. They're going to come through. You think that France and Portugal and Germany have got those really tough group games at the beginning, whereas Italy, I think, can probably save a bit in the tournament. So, whether or not they got the squad deep enough remains to be seen. Yeah,
I think the 27 games unbeaten. The Spanish, I just thought that they haven't got a goalkeeping solution. I see keepers now back as standby in the squad. De Gea, he's not even the goalkeeper. So the other goalkeepers from Athletic Bilbao. No Ramos at the back, that's a concern. And I know Moreno's up front with Morata. I don't know if they can win it, Steve.
No, I don't think so. They missed a hatful of chances. I mean, Morata, was very erratic. They really should have had a hatful, but they couldn't sort of hit the target very well. So, they're going to be hard to beat, especially if they're playing any of their games at home, as we know. Yeah.
Portugal 9-1. I'm just a bit concerned. At times, I think Ronaldo hinders their attacking players, and at times, I just think they've got too many attacking players in their team. Where is Bernardo Silva, Bruno, Jota? They've got Felix, Joao Felix. They've got so many attacking players.
Oh yeah.
I just think Ronaldo could be the problem in that team.
Well, I think they were talking about that last night. They were saying everything like, they looked to Ronaldo for everything to go through. And, I think some of those other players, like Bernardo Silva or Bruno Fernandes, they're good enough to do it on their own. So, but, as you say, they've got quality up front. And, we know them. We've seen them all play in the Premier League, so we know how good they are. So they're going to be a tough team. They're a tough tournament team, often surprise people.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to win the first game because I don't know how strong they'll be against the French and against the Germans. So they beat Hungary, they through, then I would back them outright. And last but not least, the Dutch.
I can't see them. I'd be very surprised if they go deep in the tournament. You know, they've got a reasonable group. They'll get through. After that, I think it'll start to get tougher for them.
Yeah, totally agree. Steve, as usual, I'd like your best bet and your best value bet for the weekend or in the first round. That's if you're going. I'm sure you're not going to go for any other league. Who are you on?
No. I think, look, tough this week.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Poland. I just think what I saw in the last half hour, I thought that they've got the players up front to do it, and it's going to be a close game. And then as a value bet, it's a real tough one. I just think looking at the odds, I might just, especially if they're playing at home, I just fancy Wales.
Okay.
I think it was 28 for 10. I think it's not bad odds against the Swiss. So it'll be close, but I think they could edge that by a goal, and therefore I'm going to go for them as a value bet.
All right, Steve. Well, my best bet is in Sweden. I'm siding there. I just think it's a serious league as opposed to the first round. I don't like the group stages. I'm going IFK Vernama 11-10, and I fancy France at 16-10 to upset the Germans. So that's my best value bet. Anyway, Steve, thank you very much. Enjoy the competition. We'll speak next Thursday.
Absolutely. We'll see. We'll know where we are after the first game or two.
Definitely. All the best, Steve.
Cheers,
take care.
Bye.
Yeah, we now head on to the exotics for the weekend. Now, please bear in mind that the certain days, because the first Soccer 6 is on Saturday, where I'm taking the field in the Acropolis versus Vasselins game. Likewise, in the Vestry versus UMF Ultra-Relding clash. I'm going Switzerland, win and draw against Wales. I'm going Breidablik, win and draw at home against Fulka FC, and ending with two bankers, Denmark to beat Finland and Belgium to beat Russia, 2-1-6. The next one is a Sunday Soccer 6, where I'm throwing the draw in with England against Croatia. I'm going Rovaniemi PS, win and draw at home against Turan Policera. I'm going FF Jarrow to avoid defeat at Yippo. I've thrown the draw in with Austria against North Macedonia. I'm going the Netherlands, win and draw at home against the Ukraine. And I think Brazil will be too good in their Copa America clash, especially being in Brazil against Venezuela, 2-1-6. On to the Soccer 10, which is on Saturday. I'm going the field in the Acropolis versus Vasselin match. I'm bankering Christiansen to beat Oddball Club in a Norwegian fixture. I'm going the field in the Vestry UMF Ultra-Relding game. I'm going Switzerland, win and draw against Wales. I'm bankering Breidablik to be too good for Fulka. My second page, I'm going for Denmark to beat Finland. I'm going Grorud IL, win and draw at home against KFM Kamaratin. I'm going Hamar Maritin, I hope I've spelled it right, win and draw at home against Strommen. I'm going Sanders Ulf, win and draw at home against Rofus. And I'm bankering Belgium to beat Russia, 288. The Soccer 13 is the Euro one. It kicks off on Friday. I'm bankering Italy to beat Turkey. I'm going Switzerland, win and draw against Wales. I'm bankering Denmark to beat Finland. Belgium to beat Russia. I'm going the draw with England at home against Croatia. I'm bankering Austria to beat North Macedonia. I don't trust the Dutch, so I'm going Netherlands, win and draw against the Ukraine. The second page, I'm going the field in the Scotland versus Czech Republic fixture. I'm bankering Poland to beat Slovakia, Spain to beat Sweden. I'm going for Portugal to beat Hungary. And I'm ending up with the field between France, Germany, even though I fancy the French, and Russia. I don't see them losing at home against Finland, 2-6-0. On to our budgies bets for the weekend. We start off with the Euro treble. I'm going Belgium and Spain to win their groups. And I fancy the French to win it outright. 2,300 to 200. My Euro double is Belgium to win their group and Romelu Lukaku to be the top goal scorer, 2,500 to 200. My team goals only, I'm going Denmark, Belgium, Austria and France, all to score over 1.5 goals or a minimum of 2. Worked out just over 15 to 1, so 3,100 to 200 was our bet. My both teams to score nations are England, Croatia, Netherlands, Ukraine, Scotland, Czech Republic, and France, Germany. The odds are brilliant with both teams to score. 3,600 to 200 is our bet. On to Sweden, where we've done a quad. I'm going AFC Eskilstuna to beat Falkenberg. I'm going IFK Banama, my best bet of the weekend, to be too good at home for Trelleborg. And going both teams to score in the Acropolis Vacilant and Landskrona RK Brage, 3,300 to 200. And our Collis King 6 on Nexa, I'm going Denmark to beat Finland, Belgium to beat Russia, Spain to beat Sweden, France to beat Germany, Brazil to beat Venezuela, and IFK Vanamo to beat Trelleborg. 223 to 1, 4,600 to 200 is our bet. Enjoy the Euros, and please remember to have a safe and happy weekend, and remember to stay on side.